All right. So let's get started here. We've got a couple of new PRs, primarily from, I hope I pronounced it correctly, Shaixing, I believe, Shaixing Guo, or Guo, maybe. Um, these are working in the manager, parallel calculation for the balancer, another balancer improvement to eliminate the usage of the MS infrastructure for upmap mode. Okay. Um, and I think some other general efficiency gains there. Um, so those are great. Um, let's see, there were two pull requests that both got closed by the Stalebot. One was for me. That's the avoid double caching in Blue Star O nodes. We still absolutely want to do this, but we decided a while back to wait until Adam's uh, cache sharding, or sorry, database sharding PR merged, and that is still in the process of being tested. So this will probably need to be rewritten on top of that anyway. So the old one, it's useful to have there for reference, but not super super important to keep it alive. I think so. I'll just let it stay closed, I guess. Um, and there was another one here: increased messenger IOPS. Um, that was written by Roman over at Suze, I believe. Um, that was also closed by the Stalebot. I think Greg reviewed it at one point, but there wasn't a whole lot of movement on it. So I guess if he's interested in bringing that back, maybe he can either reopen it, this PR, or submit a new one. We got a couple of them updated. I've got a PR for hardware recommendations. This just changes and updates some things that we had in our documentation. There's been a little bit of discussion about that. No approvals yet, though, so we can't merge it until somebody goes and decides to approve it. Um, let's see, what else? Another one for me about increasing the default number of RGW bucket shards. Um, I did do some testing on that, but the problem I hit was that performance was actually worse in the test than in previous runs that I had done. And I didn't have time to figure out why. Um, in those subsequent runs, I didn't see much benefit at all by increasing it beyond 7. So in those tests, 7 was good enough, but that was quite a bit different than the behavior that I had seen previously, where we were still seeing scaling beyond it. So at some point, when we can test again, I'd like to get back to that and try to figure out why performance kind of in all of those cases was worse than it used to be. But that's still unknown for now. Um, let's see what else.
So we did just talk about that PR in the scrub this morning, and we are still interested in it. Whether the initial number is 7 or something slightly higher, I mean, I think there would be no objection to taking it. And if you want to do more performance work to argue for increasing, then that would be fine too.
Maybe we should set it to like 7 or 11 or whatever now, and just get it changed, and then we can further discuss higher defaults if it makes sense, or if it doesn't, then not. Uh, what do you
Yeah,
think?
I agree. I don't want to block it
Okay.
just because. As long as I did have a comment about changing the default in the zone instead of the config. So if you can
Ah,
adjust
yes,
that,
that's
then we
right.
can take it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try to uh, get on top of that here soonish. Um, myself a note to remember to do that. Okay. Let's see. What else do we have? There was an older PR about adapting the this perf test to ARM to an ARM architecture, and I think Kifu happened to just review that this week, so that got updated. That had previously been kind of languishing in the no movement category. Um, I think that's about it. There was one other thing, Casey, that you had mentioned still being interested in. That was the PR for uh, potentially avoiding um, the decode re-encode step in between the OSD and RGW, and passing the buffer list straight in or straight across. Let me see if I can find it in the list here.
Yeah, and I still think there's a way we can do that without changing the client side of the interface.
Sure.
So
What
yeah.
did you have in mind?
Um, Adding something on the CLS side, um, probably in the form of a template where you can encode it as a where the CLS can encode it as a version with buffer lists there, so it doesn't have to decode re-encode. And then on the client side, it uses the existing one that has the actual structure, and so it'll decode normally.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, if we could do that, especially without changing the client side code, that'd be really nice.
Yeah,
There it is.
I
I
think.
found it.
Yeah,
Go
I'll
ahead.
find some time to add some comments to the PR.
Sure. Yeah, it'd be really nice not to have to introduce any kind of like backwards compatibility stuff. If it just works on the client, that'd be really nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, that testing was done before Eric's PR, so it's quite possible that it will be different now. I'm not sure if it would be better or not, um, or if it would have less of an effect at this point. But but it may have a different effect than it did when I was testing it then.
Yeah, we might be re-encoding less entries in general, but still the cost is worth avoiding.
Yeah. All right. Cool. I don't think there's much else going on here. It's been kind of a quiet week with people starting to take off. Any other PRs that I missed, guys? All right. Then the only other thing this week that I have is that we're continuing to do testing, looking at PG log and what we can do to make it better. Um, I ran through the same set of tests that I had from last week on the new Intel nodes that we have, rather than the older ones. And I did get results from those, but unfortunately, our switch is having a ton of problems and needed to be RMA'd. So none of those nodes have been accessible for most of the week. Um, the gist of the results, though, is that we see improvement just like we did on Incerta, but then we hit kind of an upper wall at around 72,000 write apps. And at that point, then further improvements just make CPU usage go down rather than performance increase. So that was kind of interesting to see. There's something else at that point that's slowing us down. But we do continue to see benefit from it, just in a different form. So still, it looks like on both architectures, both platforms, we're definitely seeing improvement on the client side, one way or the other, and on the OSD side, um, by getting rid of stuff that the PG log is doing. So I think the next step will be to look at prototyping some kind of alternate mechanism in the object store for storing PG logs. Maybe circular buffers per PG or something that are stored either in objects or stored directly in Blue Store extents or something. I don't know. We'll see. But that's kind of where we're at on it right now. I've been a little bit busy with some other bug fixes and things, so I haven't really been able to get back to it on Inserta. So that's basically it. That's all I've got. Anyone have anything else they want to talk about? All right. Well, then, quick meeting today. And for those of you in the US, enjoy your holiday break. And we'll reconvene in January.
Happy holidays.
See you later,
Thanks.
guys.
See ya.